Wow, what do you know? It's time for the Pocket Knife Show. Hey, it's Mike on the mic again for another episode of the Pocket Knife Podcast. Recently, while wandering aimlessly through my office, I do that from time to time, I spotted a medium-sized box sitting on the bottom shelf behind my desk. I stopped dead in my tracks. I didn't remember seeing this box the day before, or the day before that, or the day before that, or the day before that, or, well, ever. What was in this box? The mystery required an investigation. I took hold of the box and pulled it off the shelf. One flap was loose, the other was still held shut with packing tape. A quick jerk broke the trapped flap free so it could be opened. I looked inside. What I found was amazing. I'll tell you what I discovered in a little bit. Let me read a more lengthy passage than I usually do in this podcast. The passage I'm talking about is 2 Corinthians 3, 2 through 7, and I probably could have, maybe should have, read more, but these verses will do. Hear what God says through Paul. We have renounced secret and shameful ways. We do not use deception, nor do we distort the word of God. On the contrary, by setting forth the truth plainly, we commend ourselves to everyone's conscience in the sight of God. And even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. For what we preach is not ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. It's the jars of clay thing I want to focus on for a minute or two. Paul is, of course, referring to our limited physical bodies, which Genesis tells us were made from the dust of the earth, or from clay. The apostle is speaking of his amazement at the way God chooses to spread the good news about his Son. He does it through frail human beings, men and women who sometimes get things right as they walk in step with the Spirit, and oftentimes get things wrong, walking instead according to their sinful nature. Seems like a dumb plan, except that it's God's plan, and I'm pretty sure he can't come up with a dumb idea. Why would God use people to spread the good news? People fail time and time again. Paul tells us why God makes this move. It's so those watching the people who have chosen to follow God will know it's God who's at work. They'll know God can transform lives because despite all the flubs and failures, people who follow Jesus are like him at times. They display character traits and do good things which many, dare I say most, will not do. Later in 2 Corinthians, in chapter 12, Paul talks about visions that he's had, and then he talks about a struggle that has resulted from it. Listen to what he writes in verses 7 through 10. Because of these surpassing great revelations, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Therefore, Paul writes, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. In weakness, God shines through. God gives grace to the jar of clay believer so that he or she can live at peace when peace doesn't make sense. God gives us strength to continue living in a Christ-like manner, showing those blinded by the enemy the good news in a way that sometimes gets through the God-be-damned armor. Their curiosity gets the best of them, and they watch all the more intently. Letting your friends and neighbors see Jesus' power when you're weak. That's good news bearing. The plain brown box in my office, the one which appeared seemingly out of nowhere, know what was in it? Fruit snacks. More strawberry-flavored goodies than you can imagine. Good news in a plain cardboard box. If you stop by my office and I have some left, I'll share. Hope you see Jesus while you're sitting across from me, chomping on them while we talk and laugh and enjoy life together. Oh no, it's sad, I know. We've come to the end of the show. See you next time.